Hello. I am making a party video and I want to talk about the danger of religion. Religion is a psychological trauma to people's minds. Religion is mental brutality. It traumatizes children. It extorts children's minds. It makes children think that they better cater to that or else, or hell, whatever. Devil, whatever. They're threatening them. In Islam, that's the epitome of this. But the Christian religion too, and the other religions too, they all have their, you better do this or that is going to happen to you. Karma is going to hit, or hell, or whatever. Always this threat. And that's a violation of children's brains. Okay. We need to end this. Okay. Religion has to be ended. Religion is a violation of people's minds. Religion in itself is horror. Religion is trauma. Okay. It traumatizes children. Jiddu Krishnamurti talked about this as well, his entire life, and we need to listen to that. It's very important. The human has this unfortunate brain where when something traumatic happened in life, where they run off with an escape mechanism, with an egoic escape mechanism, psychological defense mechanism, as Arjanov called it. Eckhart Tolle calls it ego and pain body. It is an escape route, and it doesn't go anywhere. It just goes into confusion and into more terror, into more convolution. It ends up in terrible misunderstandings about themselves, about the world, about others, and it ends up with all kinds of terrible justifications that are all based on total falseness, total false foundation. That's what happens. Religion needs to be dissolved, it needs to be ended. It doesn't do us any good. It hasn't brought any accomplishments. It hasn't given people anything good. At best, it's some kind of brain-numbing agent. At worst, it tortures people to death. So, people have been tortured to death in the name of religion. Look at the history books. There's much worse things even that happened in history than any history book had ever written down. People did horrible things, and still do to this day, in the name of religion. And any religion can escalate into this. Any religion, okay. There are still people in India today that sacrifice little girls and spread her blood around a property. It still happened. It was on the news just a couple of years ago. There are still pockets and groups that are still doing this. This is absolute horror. Okay, the Incas, the Mayas, they have done these things in excessive amounts. They have thrown children into volcanoes. That's what religion does. Okay, to appease the gods, to give them rain, so they sacrifice their child. That's monstrous. Okay, absolutely monstrous. I would give my life anytime to protect my dog or child. Religion is an escape mechanism of the ego. With religion, they think they can run away from problems, they can run away from taking responsibility for their lives. They think they can run away from the harshness of truth and reality. With religion, they think they can justify hurting another living being. With religion, they think they can occupy someone else's property. They think they can dominate others with that excuse of religion. It's an escape mechanism. It's just a tool for people to do terrible things. It traumatizes children. And then they grow up and they think that is their overlord reality. That is their overlord threat that looms and dooms at all times. It goes so far, it goes into the deepest recesses of the brain. I hear people on the internet say, yeah, they say to me or to themselves, you better believe that just in case. Just in case, yeah. Just in case there is hell, you better believe it, so you enable it. So you enable this horrific thing. Don't enable anything that's horrific, no matter what. When there's something violent and horrific, don't enable it. Whether you are afraid, of that religious overlord type of thing, which is imagination, it's not truth. It's the ego creating it. It's the thread that you've always experienced from your parents that were not nice to you, that hit you. So you projected that onto this imaginary overlord that can hurt you if you don't behave according to their will. Okay, so it's all just complete imagination, and it is mental extortion. That's what that is. Okay. Say no to it. Walk the path of peace, love, and compassion. Okay. And that's the only path to walk on. There is no other path. And that is the path within your own brain, within yourself. And that means You go into meditation, you let go of other people, what they say to you, or movements, or this or that, or popularity contests. You drop all of that. You go away from it. You go your own way, you go into your room, you meditate on that what is. And you start to see the whole thing from above, like you take a drone and you fly that over a territory. And suddenly you see where everything is located and how everything ties in with one another. Okay. You see the picture from above, the big picture as I call it. And suddenly things start to make sense. It becomes much more clear now. Where are you in this picture? And how have you been taken advantage by those that use religion to extort you, your brain, and your nervous system? Okay. You see the whole thing. There's no need to go into a rage over it either. I have done that. Spare yourself that. That's not getting us anywhere either. Okay. So understand where they are coming from. They are just as confused as you were before you meditated. So that doesn't mean you're now enlightened and your ego can run off with this and say, I am your guru now. No, that's another escape mechanism. That's like, and people are very quick with this. You tell someone like, oh, you've become aware, and the ego very quickly wants to take that and run off with it and enrich itself in a very convoluted, distorted way, in a false way. The ego always wants to do this very quickly. One compliment and the ego goes, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. Let me run off with this. And then they become gurus and they want to be worshipped and adored because the ego wants this more than anything else, because it's a craving for that. In most humans, there's a craving for being worshipped. And I hypothesize that someone who had received real, genuine mother love, the real, unconditional mother love that every living being, that every baby, animal, and human deserves, if they had been given this, which is very rare in the world, but if they had been given that, like Bindi Irwin and Robert Irwin, those are my prototypes for that, and there are some others, but it's very rare. If that had been given, that person is not going to develop an ego. That person is not going to develop this convoluted ego with the escape routes and the cravings for being adored. Okay. They feel loved and adored naturally because the mother has given that. And then later on there is no need for this incessant craving and seeking of approval and fame and power and all of that. That's really, I think, that's really the core trauma in most humans, is that they have not been given unconditional love by their mothers or fathers. Whoever was the caregiver, adopted parent, grandparent, if they had been given that unconditional love, they are not going to fall into this convoluted ego act out of needing approval and fame. So, and religion is part of that escape mechanism. Okay, so you guys take care.